Hi, welcome to another episode of Double J's List. If you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I'm coming at you from our new 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan SE 4motion. And we had a 2019 SE 4motion that the lease ended on, or was coming to an end. And I was able to apply the value beyond what the buyout was onto this next lease. They actually saved money by getting another one. My original intention was to get either a Toyota RAV4 Prime or one of the other plug-in hybrid SUVs to replace what's primarily my wife's vehicle. It's also our main family vehicle. Whenever we go out as a family, we take this rather than the Bolt. It's got a lot more room, makes a lot more sense. So the reality of the situation is the Prime is in such high demand right now that there's really no good lease deals. I like to lease my wife a car just because I like to have her and the family in a safe car. She doesn't drive a ton of miles. Latest state-of-the-art safety features, reliable. One less car I have to worry about doing maintenance things too. So that's the reasoning, at least at this point of our lives, that we're leasing her a vehicle. Now, unfortunately, the Prime was coming in at almost twice the price as a lease for this car. So we actually saved a substantial amount of money per month by staying with the Tiguan. This one, 2022, they made what's called a mid cycle refresh. So that means it's essentially the same vehicle, but they've changed a bunch of little things on it to make it feel new again, rather than redesign the entire car clean slate. And there's a bunch of little differences. I'm going to try to go over them when I do the outside portion of my video. However, I will say, from a driver's standpoint, it feels like they remapped the software, and it has a little more response. The 2019 Tiguan that we had, for lack of a better term, always felt like kind of a dog. You didn't even know that it was a turbocharged 2-liter engine. This one, it still hides the turbo a lot. However, it comes out a little bit. Now, right now I'm driving it in sport mode, which we almost never do because this really isn't a sporting car for all intents and purposes. But I'm doing it because I'm on the back roads and try to make this as interesting as possible for a 5-seat crossover. Now, in sport mode, it really kind of picks up a little quicker when you step into the throttle. But anyway, they made some changes to this car, and I feel like what Volkswagen did was addressed a lot of people's issues with the car in the previous generation, or the previous version of this generation, I should say. It's a vehicle that has a job. It's transporting people around and stuff. It's not meant to be a really engaging vehicle, but it really isn't all that bad. The quality seems quite nice. And what was really nice about going to another Tiguan of the same generation is there was very little adjustment for us going from one car to the next. It wasn't like, well, it's only a handful of changes that we had to get used to. One of the changes we did, our last one was an SE with the Sunroof Package. This one did not have the Sunroof Package. It saved us a little bit of money, and quite frankly, my wife didn't like the sunroof that much. She felt that in the summertime it made the car a lot warmer, even with the shade closed, and in the wintertime she felt that it made the car colder. So she never opened it really, and I never really opened it. It's just, we're not big fans of wind noise or anything. And then that's a problem I have with sunroofs in most cars. Some people love sunroofs, and some people just can live without it. So with that being said, I think that they've made this a better car. A lot of little things that bothered me about the last car aren't here. Like I said, the throttle response being like the biggest thing. Other than that, they've changed a few things on the outside. I'll go over that in the video. A couple things on the inside. They've added wireless CarPlay and a charging pad for your phone, so that's really nice. One thing that's changed a little bit is I feel that the infotainment system responds a little bit more sluggishly than when you were hardwired into the system for CarPlay. But I think that's just a compromise that you're going to have to make for the convenience of not having to plug your phone in. This one, our old one, was white with the like the kind of dark brown interior. And what's funny is our salesperson told us that when that car was new, we really liked that dark brown interior. I thought it looked really good. It was one of the reasons my wife liked the car. And they, at the time, had a tough time selling it. But apparently now, on the used car market, those brown interiors are hard to come by, and then they sell pretty quickly because people are now looking for it. They don't even offer that anymore. So we went with this almost white interior. This has VW Tex, which is Volkswagen's own branded vinyl, or leatherette as they call it. You know, in general, I think German leatherette interiors are actually quite good. Other than that, I'm going to go through the inside and outside of the car, show you the changes and the differences, but we really like the car so far. I think partially is because our outside color is this really beautiful blue. It's new for 2022. And our old car was white. I personally don't like white cars very much, especially that was just a flat white, not a pearl or anything like that. It was just a boring rental car looking white that I just don't care for. My wife liked it, and it was primarily her car, so that's what matters. But this blue is actually gorgeous. It's got some depth to it, nice metallic finish. So we're gonna get this on outside. I'll go over some of the changes, and we'll take a look at it. And now to the outside of the new Tiguan for 2022. This one's an SE. And one of the changes, they made the bumper a little bit more aggressive. Looks similar to the R-Line bumper of the previous version of this generation. Another thing they changed on these, now it has LED headlights instead of the old halogen bulb units. It has a little bit different LED running light, which you saw earlier. The SE model gets 18-inch wheels instead of 17s. Like it did previously. Unfortunately, I just washed it, and one of the problems with this nice dark blue that's almost black is it shows dirt almost immediately. But it is what it is. Welcome to Western New York. The outside profile from the side, you could barely tell is any different from the previous version, other than the wheels. Another weird little touch that they did, if you look closely, they put a little Volkswagen, I guess you could call that a badge. It's like a black sticker. You can barely see it. It's kind of a nice little touch. They changed the button to lock and unlock the doors to an actual button rather than being one of those haptic touch things that barely work, which is a great upgrade. Another thing that they changed the badge. Now it's in the middle of the hatch, just like that. The font's a little bit different. Volkswagen put their new logo, which looks much like their old logo. It's just a tiny bit thinner all the way around. They added a power liftgate to the SE, which is great. This one happens to have the cargo system, which is very useful. Sorry for the mess in there. And then the inside, they made a bunch of little changes which made a big difference. On the SE trim level, you now have a digital screen in place of the analog gauges, which is really nice. I'll show you one thing that makes it really cool when you turn it on is you can configure what your gauge looks like. It's upset at me because I have the door open. And you can hit this button right here that says view, and it changes the gauges. So now this is just like a readout of everything. This is the one we primarily use. And then there's this one that actually gives you what looks kind of like an analog speedometer. And then this one gives you a tachometer, gives you a speedo readout on the side. So that's the one I was using for now. The other big change in here is the climate controls changed to haptic touch. So these aren't real buttons anymore. I thought this was going to be terrible. I've read lots of bad reviews about people not liking this and preferring real buttons. It really isn't that big of a change, to be honest. With climate control especially, you just kind of hit the auto button right here and just let it do its thing. Occasionally, if the window's really fogged up, you hit the defrost and then the rear defrost button. You don't interact with it that much. The steering wheel changed a little bit. I believe it's one out of a GTI. It's got the flat bottom now. It might have been the previous model GTI. Still has real buttons on the steering wheel. I know a lot of Volkswagens aren't using real buttons on the steering wheel. Other than that, one neat little feature actually I want to go over. Another change, they changed the mirror. It's got a much smaller frame, and they put a compass there, and it's got buttons for the garage door opener, which I've not actually configured yet. But one thing that we like for a family vehicle, this button right here, it says rear. This turns on the rear lights over the back seat. So like if you got kids or something, you want to check on them, you hit that button, you can see what's going on in the back seat. That's actually worthwhile. So overall, a lot of great changes to the car, and I think it's been a positive thing. So in conclusion, even though it wasn't the vehicle that we originally wanted, it was basically the same vehicle that we replaced, we're actually quite happy with this. They've made some good changes, and there really wasn't that much wrong with it in the first place to begin with. We did have a couple of reliability issues with our first one. I've got a video about the bevel box or transfer case being replaced, but other than that, it's been pretty good. And you know, a lot of the infotainment issues that we had with the old one, which it seems to be just common with almost every single brand now. You're trying to do so much with these infotainment systems, and you have to work with all these different phones and things like that. It's nearly an impossible task to make that work well. So far, knock on wood, this one has been a little bit better, other than being slow because it's the wireless CarPlay. Strongly recommend this. It's been a good buy so far. I hope this helps you out and helps you with your decision making in purchasing a new vehicle. If you like, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you for watching.